I'm Clara Monroe, an ordinary person like you, delivering mail, sipping coffee, never believing demons were real. But what do you think happened when I died for 4 minutes on a rain-soaked road, blood pooling in the dark? I faced a demon. Can you guess which one? Incubus, the male demon of lust from biblical lore, loved me, whispering temptations in my dreams to drag me into the shadows. Could I escape? Not until a blinding light chased it away, and God said, "Clara, you're mine." Subscribe now, hit the bell, stay with me till the end, because this story will show you who's waiting for you in the dark. I'm Clara Monroe, and if you're hearing this story, you won't believe what I've been through. It was the night of March 20th, 2025, driving late to deliver mail on a back road in Savannah, Georgia. Rain poured, headlights blurred in the fog, and all I wanted was to get home to a warm coffee. But then, out of the dark, a truck barreled toward me like a beast. I swerved, my car slid, and the sound of shattering glass rang out as I slammed into a tree. Pain, then nothing. I felt cold, light, like I was falling into a void. I opened my eyes, but not in the car. I was floating above, looking down at myself. My body slumped in the wreckage, coat torn, blood pooling under the rain, rescue lights flashing far off. Panic hit me. Am I dead? Is this it? I wanted to scream, but no sound came. I was just a shadow, drifting between life and death. I thought of my life, delivering mail, living alone, no one waiting for me. Is this how Clara Monroe ends? I wondered. An ordinary nobody, forgotten? Then I heard a whisper, not from the rescuers. A deep, cold voice, hissing through gritted teeth. "Clara, at last we meet." I spun around but saw no one, just thick darkness, like ink spreading, swallowing the headlights' glow. My heart, or whatever was left, pounded. I shouted, "Who's there? Who's speaking?" The voice laughed, low and chilling. "You don't need to see. I'm here, always here, waiting for you." The darkness tightened. Then it took shape. Not quite human, not quite beast. A tall figure, skin black and glossy like tar, eyes burning red like embers, thin hands with sharp claws. I trembled, but I couldn't run. I was just a spirit, floating, helpless. It tilted its head, eyeing me like prey. "I am Incubus. Clara, I've known you long. Every dream, every lonely night of yours." I was stunned. "Incubus? The demon from the Bible? No, you're not real. You're a hallucination." I'd heard my mom tell demon stories, but I'd dismissed them as superstition. It laughed, a booming roar like a cave echo. "Hallucination? You're dead, Clara. This is more real than your whole life." It stepped closer, reeking of sulfur. "I've watched you, weak, alone, but something different. I want you." I backed away, or tried to, though I had no legs to flee with. "Want me? For what?" Incubus raised a hand, and illusions bloomed. Me, young again, beautiful, in an art studio, my paintings famous, a man holding me, whispering love. Its voice was honey. "I'll give you everything. Love, fame, pleasure. Come with me, Clara, down where I rule." I stared, my heart aching. It was the dream I'd buried. But I shook my head. It's not real. You're a liar. It roared, eyes blazing. You dare reject me? The illusion shattered, replaced by fear. My mom dying in bed, my drunk dad walking out, me crying alone in my dark apartment. It whispered, "You're nothing. No one needs you. Come with me. I'll give you power." But oddly, I wasn't afraid. I met its gaze, said, "I've lived through it all. You can't scare me." Incubus faltered, stepping back. You're not like them." I recalled a verse Mom read. "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." John 1:5. I didn't know why, but I stood firm, even as a spirit. Incubus tilted its head, its tone shifting to seduction. "You're stronger than I thought, Clara. I don't want to destroy you. I love you. Stay with me." I was shocked. "Love me? A demon?" It chuckled. "You're a light I've never seen. I want to keep you forever." I stared at Incubus, my heart, or whatever remained, icing over. A demon loving me? I wanted to flee, but I was trapped in this void. It came closer, its touch icy yet strangely magnetic. "You don't understand, Clara," it said, voice low and alluring. "I've tempted thousands, kings, scholars, they all fell. But you don't fall. I need you." I shouted. "You're insane. I'm nothing, just a mail carrier." It laughed, red eyes glinting. "No, you're more. I feel it. Your light hurts me, but I can't leave." It waved a hand, and a dream appeared. Me in its arms, not a man's. Incubus whispering love, my body burning with temptation. I turned away. "Stop it. You're not real." But Incubus didn't stop. It circled me, voice serpentine. "You reject me, but I won't give up. I've waited too long. You're mine, Clara." I felt weaker, like I was being pulled in. Will I lose everything? I thought. Then, from deep within, a memory flared. Mom reading Psalm 27:1. "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" I whispered, "Lord." Incubus roared, "Don't call his name." But it was too late. A blinding white light tore through the darkness, hurling Incubus back. I fell, or floated, into the light, hearing it scream, "You won't escape me!" But the warmth enveloped me, its voice fading. I knew I didn't belong to it anymore. And just as Incubus roared in the darkness, trying to pull me into its icy grip, something miraculous happened. A blinding white light tore through the night, like the sun bursting in the rain, hurling the demon back. I heard it scream, pained, furious. "You won't escape me, Clara." But the light was stronger, warmer, sweeping me away like a gentle tide. I floated, no longer afraid, no longer cold, just a peace I'd never known in life. I thought, where am I going? Is this heaven? The light was thick, not harsh but comforting, like it was holding me. Incubus was gone, its seductive whispers fading into nothing. I looked around. No highway, no wrecked truck, no body lying in the rain. Just me, or my soul, drifting in a pristine white expanse. Am I really dead? I wondered. Or is this my last dream? Then I heard a voice, not like Incubus, not cold or tempting. This voice was deep, warm, like my dad before the booze, like Mom singing lullabies. Clara, don't be afraid. I turned, and there he was, God. He wore a radiant white robe, edged with golden light, a halo glowing behind his head like the church paintings Mom took me to see. His face wasn't clear, but his eyes, oh, those eyes, shone bright, piercing through me with love and authority. I trembled. God? Is it really you? He nodded, his voice resonating softly. Clara, you are mine, chosen before you were born. I knelt, or felt like I did, though I had no legs. I'm not worthy, I blurted, tears spilling, though a spirit shouldn't cry. I'm just a mail carrier. I quit church. I didn't pray. Why am I here? He smiled, a smile that melted me. You don't see your worth, but I do. You never belong to the darkness. I looked up, still stunned. Belong to you? I don't understand. Incubus said it loved me, wanted me. What's so special about me? God raised his hand, and my life unfolded before me like a film. I saw myself as a kid, delivering mail in the rain, smiling at a lonely old lady, patient with grumpy customers. I saw myself crying in my dark apartment, but getting up the next day to work. He said, "You're an earth angel, Clara. A light I placed in you to shine through the dark." I shook my head. An earth angel? I'm no angel. I'm ordinary. I'm weak. He stepped closer, his hand on my shoulder, warm like sunlight. You're not weak. You're strong because you didn't fall. Incubus doesn't love you like I do. It loves the light in you, a light it can never have. I asked, "What light? I don't see it." He smiled. "Let me show you." Before my eyes, 6 signs appeared. Not signs to heaven like I expected, but signs I was chosen. Seeing the truth. John 8:32. You weren't fooled by Incubus. You saw its lies for what they were. Unconditional love. 1 John 4:8. You helped others without expecting reward. That's my love in you. Strength in stillness. Psalm 46:10. You stood firm against fear, didn't crumble. Light against darkness. John 1:5. Your light made Incubus falter. It couldn't overcome. Enduring trials. James 1:12. You faced a hard life. Without hate. That's my strength in you. Calling my name. Isaiah 43:1. You called me in danger, even unaware. I heard you. I gasped. But I didn't mean to. I just lived. He laughed. Exactly. You lived true, and that's why you're special. He pointed, and I saw small moments. Picking up dropped mail for an old man, wiping tears missing Mom but not cursing, rejecting Incubus's sweet lies. You didn't know, he said, but every time you chose light, I was there. As I stood in awe, the darkness stirred. Incubus reappeared, weaker, standing beyond God's light, red eyes glaring. You can't take her. She makes me. Alive! God turned to it, voice commanding. You have no claim on my child, Incubus. You don't love Clara. You love the light I put in her, a light you'll never possess. Incubus snarled. She's mine. I've tempted thousands. She's no different. But I saw it tremble. It feared God, and oddly, it feared me. I stepped forward, fearless now. You don't have me, Incubus. You lost. It sneered. Lost! I'll drag you down. Your light's not enough. But God raised his hand, and the light flared, shrinking Incubus. He said, Clara's strong because she's mine. You only see your shadow in her, and you hate it. I looked at Incubus, and for the first time, I saw not just a demon, but an empty being, craving what it could never have. Why don't you let me go? I asked. It roared. Because you weaken me. I want to snuff you out, but I can't. God told me, see, Clara? Your light doesn't just save you. It changes even your enemy. I'm sending you back, not just to live, but to shine. I shook. Back? I'm not strong enough. Incubus will return. He placed his hand on my head. I am enough. You'll carry this light back. Tell others. Even ones like it can see truth through you. Incubus screamed, I don't need your truth. But it retreated, and the light swept me away. I heard God's final words. Clara, go. You're my earth angel. I'm Clara Monroe, and when God's light swept me away, I thought I'd stay with him forever. But then I opened my eyes, not in that radiant white glow, but in a cold white hospital room, the sharp sting of antiseptic filling my nose. I heard sobbing, my brother Ben sitting beside my bed, clutching my hand tight. Clara, you're alive. Don't leave me, I rasped, my voice faint. Ben, I'm here. I could feel my body again. I was back. A doctor stepped in, his face a mix of shock and confusion. Ms. Monroe, you were dead for 4 minutes. Your heart stopped, your brain went without oxygen, and no one can explain how you woke up. I gave a weak smile. I know why. I was chosen. Ben stared at me, wiping his tears. What are you saying? Were you dreaming? I shook my head. It wasn't a dream, Ben. I met God, and a demon too. He froze, wide-eyed, but I didn't explain yet. I was too tired. Still, a new fire burned inside me. Over the next few days, I lay in recovery, healing slowly. The nurses whispered among themselves, "She's a miracle." But I knew it wasn't a miracle. It was God's will. I remembered his words. You'll carry this light back. Tell others. I promised myself. I have to live different. No more old Clara. When I was discharged, Ben drove me back to my small apartment in Savannah. I watched the rain streak down the window, thinking of Incubus, wondering, will it come back? But this time I wasn't afraid. I had God with me. Back home, everything changed. I stopped sitting alone with cold coffee in my dark apartment. I started going to church, not out of habit, but because I wanted to be close to him. That first Sunday, I stepped into Mom's old church, heard the hymns rise, and tears streamed down my face. I knelt, praying, Lord, thank you for saving me. Now I live for you. I picked up my paintbrush again, something I'd abandoned since Mom passed. I painted, not the rain or sadness of my old life, but light. The white glow I saw, with God, his piercing eyes, even the faint shape of Incubus being chased away. I hung them up in my apartment, and Ben noticed, asking, "What's with these weird paintings?" I told him everything, the crash, Incubus, God, the 6 signs. He laughed. "You're crazy, but you're different now. You glow." I nodded. "I'm not crazy. I'm chosen, and you can be too." I took my paintings to church and shared my story at a meeting. My voice trembled at first. "I'm Clara Monroe. I died for 4 minutes, met the demon Incubus, and God saved me. He gave me 6 signs I'm an earth angel." The room went silent. Then an old woman cried, "I see God through you. I want that light too." A man stood up. "You remind me I walked away from him. I'll come back." I was stunned. My light was really spreading. Ben, who'd grown distant over the years, started coming around more. One night, he said, "You're changing me. I used to think life was pointless, but you make me want to believe." I taught him to pray. Read Psalm 27:1 like Mom once read to me. I thought, God was right. I'm not just living for myself anymore. I began helping others. After delivering mail, I visited lonely old ladies, brought bread to poor kids. I lived by the 6 signs, and each day I felt stronger. But peace didn't last forever. One night, I dreamed. Not an ordinary dream. I stood on the rainy highway where I'd died, and Incubus appeared. It wasn't as fierce as before, but still eerie, its red eyes dimmer, its voice low and sad. "Clara, you hurt me. Your light burns me." I answered, unshaken. "You don't have me anymore. God took me back." It tilted its head, staring at me long. "I don't want to lose you. I love you, not like him." I shook my head. "You don't love. You want to snuff out my light, but you can't." Incubus raised a hand, and an illusion flared, me in its arms, hot and seductive. I turned away. "No, Incubus, I don't belong to you." It growled softly. "You're changing me. I hate you, but I can't leave." I stepped closer, meeting its gaze. "You don't have to hate. God sees you. He doesn't abandon anyone. You can choose different." Incubus laughed dryly, but it sounded weak. "Choose? I'm a demon. I have no choice." But I saw its eyes waver. For the first time, it didn't attack. I said, "You see the light through me. That's the truth, not mine, but his." It stepped back, its voice faint. "You're stronger than I thought, but I'll return." Then it dissolved into the darkness, like smoke carried off by the wind, leaving me alone on the dream highway. I woke up, sweat soaking my nightshirt, my heart pounding like a drum. I knew Incubus hadn't given up. It still lurked somewhere, in my dreams, in the shadows I'd faced on that fateful road. But this time, I wasn't afraid. I knelt on the cold wood floor, hands clasped, praying, "Lord, If I can change even a demon, I'll do as you wish. Spread this light to those who need it. A peace flooded through me, like he was smiling from afar, and I fell back asleep. No more dreams troubling me. The days after, I lived with a new sense, a mix of strength and responsibility. I didn't stop at sharing my story in church. I started writing, short lines about my experience, about Incubus whispering in the dark, about God's light pulling me free. I showed Ben, nervous. "What do you think?" He shrugged, scratching his head. "You write good, but demons still sounds nuts." I smiled. "I know, but you'll believe when you see my light." Ben didn't argue, just nodded. "Do what you want, long as you're happy." I didn't write just for Ben. I took those pages to church, reading aloud at a small group. My voice shook at first. I thought I was ordinary, but after dying 4 minutes, I met Incubus, the lust demon, and God saved me. He said I'm an earth angel, and I believe we all have light. People listened. A young girl, eyes red, said, "I felt worthless, but you make me want to find God." An old man nodded. "You remind me of when I saw him. I'll pray again." I stood there, stunned. My words, my light, were touching others. I didn't stop there. I went around Savannah, not just delivering mail, but hope. I visited poor streets where kids ran barefoot, gave them bread, and said, "You're not alone. God's there." I stopped by the old lady I'd delivered to, listened to her old stories, and told her, "You're a light to me. Don't think you're nothing." She held my hand, crying, "You're different now, Clara. You make me feel alive." I smiled. I learned from God. We all have worth. But Incubus wouldn't let me rest long. Another night I dreamed. Clearer this time. I stood in my apartment, window open, cold wind blowing through. Incubus appeared, not as fierce as before, but weary, its red eyes fading. "Clara, you don't get it. Your light weakens me, but I can't escape you." I replied, steady, "You don't need to escape. You need the truth. God saved me, and he sees you too." It laughed dryly, but feebly. "Truth? I'm a demon. His truth isn't for me." I stepped closer, fearless. "You say that, but why don't you attack anymore? You're changing, Incubus, even if you won't admit it." It went silent, staring long, then whispered, "You make me remember something I had before I fell." I asked, "What?" It didn't answer, just shook its head. "You're dangerous, Clara. Not because you're strong, but because you make me weak." I looked at it, and for the first time, I saw not just a demon, but a lost soul yearning for what it dared not touch. "You don't have to stay in the dark," I said. "God doesn't abandon anyone, even you." Incubus growled softly, "Don't say that. I don't need him." But its voice trembled, and I saw it retreat, like it feared my words. It faded, leaving my dream quiet. I woke, sat up, and thought, I'm not just changing people, I'm changing a demon. From then on, I lived with a clearer purpose. I wrote more, not just notes, but a small book, Light Through the Darkness. I told of the crash, Incubus, the 6 signs God gave me, and how light can reach even an enemy. I printed a few copies, gave them to Ben, to the church, and one day, a stranger at the local bookstore saw it, asking, "You wrote this for real? I want to buy it." I was shocked. "It's real, and I don't sell, I give." He took it, saying, "You make me want to read the Bible again." I knew. My light was spreading farther than I'd ever imagined. And after my book Light Through the Darkness started spreading in Savannah, I thought I'd found peace. But Incubus wouldn't let me rest for long. One night, I slipped into a dream, deeper, clearer than ever before. I stood on I-85, where I died, rain pounding down, thunder rumbling in the distance. I knew it was coming. I could feel that familiar chill in the air. Incubus appeared, no longer the towering, terrifying figure from our first meeting. It was smaller, weaker, its glossy black skin now pale, its red eyes a faint glow. It stood, at a distance, staring at me, voice hoarse. "Clara, I can't take it anymore. Your light is killing me." I replied steady, "You're not dying. You're just afraid of the truth." It growled faintly. "Truth? His truth is fire. To me." I stepped forward, rain soaking my hair, but I wasn't cold. "You say that, but why do you keep coming back? You don't want to kill me. You want something from me." Incubus went silent, then whispered, "I want your light. I want to feel it, even if it burns me." I was stunned. "You, a demon, want light?" It bowed its head, vulnerable for the first time. "I was light once, Clara, before I fell. You make me remember." I asked. "Remember what?" Incubus looked up, its red eyes flaring. "Before I was Incubus, I had another name. I was an angel, like you say, an earth angel. But I chose darkness, and now I'm empty." I stood there, rain falling around me, listening to a demon confess, "It's past." I said, "If you remember, why not return?" It laughed dryly. "Return? He won't take someone like me. I'm too far gone." I shook my head. "You're wrong. God doesn't abandon anyone. He saved me, and he sees you." Incubus roared. "Don't say that. I don't need him." But its voice broke, and I saw its hands tremble. I stepped closer. "You don't need me. You need him. I'm just a mirror." It stared, its red eyes fading. You make me see myself. I hate you for that." I stood before Incubus, rain pouring down, but I didn't waver. "You hate me because I show you the truth. You don't have to be a demon forever." It shouted, "I am a demon. I seduce, I destroy, that's me." But I saw it shrink, as if my words pierced it. I said, "No, that's what you chose, but you can choose again." Incubus raised its hand, and an illusion appeared. Not temptation this time, but itself. A radiant angel, white-robed, wings glowing, standing beside God. It roared, "Stop it! I'm not that anymore." But I saw its eyes redden, not with rage but pain. I said, "You were that once, and deep down you still crave it." It fell to its knees, clutching its head. You don't understand. I fell because I wanted freedom, power. But this power, it's a prison. I knelt too, facing it. Real freedom isn't power. It's light. It's love. You see, it threw me and it scares you. Incubus looked up, voice trembling. I'm afraid. Afraid he'll reject me. I placed my hand on its shoulder, cold as ice, but I didn't pull back. He doesn't reject. He waits. I'm just a mail carrier, but he chose me. You were an angel. He's still waiting for you. Incubus stared, and for the first time, its eyes weren't red, just deep darkness, full of anguish. It whispered, "You really believe that?" I nodded. I do. Because he told me, "You're mine." And he doesn't lie. Suddenly a white light flared, not as intense as when God saved me, but gentle, radiating from within me. Incubus groaned but didn't retreat. This light, it hurts, but I want it. I said, "It's not my light, it's his. Choose. Incubus, darkness or light." It went silent, then stood, turning away. I don't know. The rain stopped, and the highway faded. Incubus stood there, its thin frame no longer menacing. I asked, "Where are you going?" It replied, voice low. "I don't know. But you've won, Clara. Not with strength, but by being you." I smiled. "I didn't win. God did. You saw him through me, and that's enough." Incubus turned back, looking at me one last time. "You've changed me. I'm not the Incubus I was. But I'm not ready. Darkness has been my home too long." I said, "Your real home is light. When you're ready, he's still waiting." It nodded faintly. No growl or temptation this time, then dissolved. Not into darkness, but a gray haze like the space between light and night. I woke, morning sun slipping through the curtains. I sat up, feeling an odd lightness. I knew that was my last dream with Incubus, not because it was gone, but because it had seen the truth. I knelt, praying, "Lord, thank you. I didn't just come back. I brought light to even the deepest darkness." I felt him answer, not with words, but with warmth in my heart. I stood, grabbed my pen, and kept writing, light through the darkness. I added a final chapter about this dream, about how Incubus faced itself through me. I sent it to the church, to Ben, and even a small publisher in Savannah. A week later they called. "Ms. Monroe, your book could reach thousands. Will you let us print it?" I laughed. "Print it, but not for money, for light." The book spread, not just in Savannah, but beyond, to the lonely, the lost. I got letters. "You made me find God again. I was afraid of the dark, but you gave me hope." I knew. I hadn't just changed Incubus. I'd changed the small world around me. I looked out the window thinking, "Lord, you were right. Your light through me is stronger than I ever imagined." I'm Clara Monroe, and after that final dream with Incubus, I was no longer just an ordinary mail carrier from Savannah. My book, Light Through the Darkness, wasn't just my story anymore. It was a flame I lit for those lost in the dark. I'm not rich, not famous, but I'm rich in light, and that's enough. Every day, I live with a new vision. Not for this life, but for heaven, where God waits for me. I taught Ben, my brother, to live differently. One evening, he came over, holding my book, and said, "Clara, I read it. I'm not sure about demons, but I believe you met God." I smiled. As long as you believe in him, that's enough. I took him to church, and we knelt under the soft glow of the lights, praying together. Ben whispered, "You make me want to live better." I squeezed his hand. "We live for him, Ben. Every day is a step toward heaven." I didn't just teach Ben. I went to church, speaking to everyone. I'm not special. I'm a mail carrier who died for 4 minutes, faced Incubus, and was saved by God. He chose me, and he's chosen you too. I shared the 6 signs: seeing the truth, unconditional love, strength in stillness, light against darkness, enduring trials, calling his name. A young girl stood up. "I want to live like you. I'll pray." I smiled. "You're already chosen. Just step toward him." I walked through Savannah, carrying my book, carrying God's word. I went to poor corners where light was scarce, telling kids, "You're light, don't fear the dark." I visited nursing homes, sitting with lonely elders. "You're not forgotten. God sees you." An old man held my hand. "You make me think of heaven. I'll wait for him." I knew. I wasn't just surviving, I was living to guide others home. I sat writing these final lines, watching the rain outside my window, no longer a rain of sorrow, but a cleansing rain. I thought of Incubus, of the light I carried, and I realized this story isn't just mine, it's yours, those listening, reading. I died for 4 minutes, faced a demon, and was saved by God. But you don't need to die to see him. Have you seen these 6 signs in your life? Do you see truth through lies? Do you love without expecting return? Do you stand firm in fear? Do you carry light that pushes back darkness? Do you endure trials without bitterness? Do you call his name in despair? If so, you're an earth angel, too, chosen like me. I'm calling you. Subscribe today. Leave a 77 under this video, a sign you're ready to live for the light. Pray right now. Tell God, I'm yours. Because the day he comes is closer than you think. I recall my mom's favorite verse. He who testifies to these things says, "Yes, I am coming soon." Amen. Come, Lord Jesus. Revelation 22-20. I stood, looking at the sky clearing after the rain. I don't know where Incubus is now, in the dark or seeking light, but I know where I am, in God's hands, bringing his light to the world. I whispered, "Lord, I'm ready for this life and for heaven." And I know you can be ready too.